First of all, we want to introduce you to the fill port. This is where you would hook up a hose to a storage tank of some kind. It allows the system to be a self-filling system. You don't have to have a separate pump to fill it. This first valve over here is the source valve. It tells the pump which direction or where it's pulling from. If you put the source valve position over to the fill port, then it actually draws from this, so you can actually get suction to fill the tank. Then typical valve, up is an off position, and then you push the valve this way, and now the system is going to draw from the tank into the pump. Now once it draws either from the fill port or the tank, it's going to draw it through this strainer filter system here into the pump, and then it's going to come up, and this is the electric valve that's controlled in the front seat of the truck. This is the actual off-on valve for the whole thing. It's battery operated. It's also a power off valve. Some of our competitors use a spring off valve. This has actually got power off and on. Then this valve back here is the fill valve. To fill the system, you put this valve in an open position, and now the liquid flows from the storage tank, through the fill port, through the filter, through the pump, and up here, hits this valve that's closed, and goes into the tank. So now we've got a very simple, very straight flow pattern to fill this tank. And it will draw up to 6 feet high, so that the height between the truck and the bottom of that storage tank can be up to 6 feet, and this truck will still self-fill. Then when we're done filling it, we will close this valve, put this valve over onto source from the storage tank on the truck, put the cap back on here, and we're ready to go. Now all this is powered by good old dependable Honda GX160 motor. It's 5.5 horsepower, kind of the workhorse of the industry, just almost bulletproof. The off-on switch is on the back side of the motor. Throttle is here, choke is here, and fuel off-on is here. So typical Honda, you make sure the fuel's on, you turn the switch on so that it will start, the start run switch, put a little choke to it, pull the cord twice, and it starts. Pretty close to bulletproof. Now, when we're ready to go, we're ready to spray, then this valve comes in action. The fill valve is closed when it's being used, and so now we're going to come up, and this valve will control what goes out of the back of the truck. Now, it comes out here, goes by a flow meter. This meter is like a trip odometer. It'll tell you how many gallons this system has sprayed, and it will also give you a cumulative, like for the season. So you can determine how much you do on a specific job and then reset it. And then you can also keep track of how much you use for the whole season. Then we've got a pressure meter here. This system is designed to run between 20 and 40 pounds per square inch, or PSI. And we typically run it around 20 or 22 for most applications. It will do 40 PSI, and so you can flat put some liquid out. That's about 160 gallon a minute capable pump, and so there's all kinds of ability to get liquid out of the back of this truck. So this valve opens up, it goes by the flow meter, so you know how many gallons. It hits the pressure gauge, so you know what pressure you're working at. Comes down here, and then this is the output valve. And the long side of the handle determines which way it goes. This will be hooked to the boom, and we'll demonstrate that in a moment. So when the long handle is towards the boom hose, then the fluid is flowing out the boom. If you put it over to this side, now the fluid is flowing out this smaller hose and to a simple hand gun that we use for light spraying, like handicap ramps and things like that. Small items that you want to spray, even under cars or something like that. Makes it very convenient, very easy to get to. Okay, now we'll grab the boom and we'll demonstrate how the boom sits. Okay, now we need to talk about the boom and how the boom works. The boom is actually the spray bar. It's got changeable spray heads. Each one is controlled with a cam lock fitting. You pull two tabs up and you can just free up the spray head itself and change it out. Now this yellow one is also included in all of our sprayers as standard equipment. This is a pencil tip for ice cutting. So it can give you a set of fan tips for pre-treatment, and then the ice cutters or pencil tips for post-treatment. Now this is the boom in a travel position. It's up out of the way. It's not going to get banged up to. If it's sitting on a plow truck and you're plowing, you're not going to hurt this boom the way it is now. But it's easy to put back into a used position. You pull a simple pin out of it, pull it up, with the pin, and then the hose has got the same cam lock fittings. We're going to clip the output hose to the boom. Now this truck's ready to spray. Now let's suppose that you want to do a wider piece of ground. Right now this gives you an 8-foot spray path. If you want to do a wider piece of ground, standard equipment comes as boom extensions. Pull the end cap out of the boom. And now we've got a short boom extension that goes on either side. Put it in there, aim the spray heads down, clip it shut, and now you've got an 11-foot wide path if you put both of them in. We thank you for your time to watch this video. We hope that you will enjoy and benefit from using your HighCountry sprayer, and that it will be an effective tool in your arsenal against snow and ice. Thank you again. Stay tuned for our next video on filling the system.